Most of us believe we're responding to facts. What actually happens far more often than we realize is that we're responding to our filters. And one of the most powerful and most misleading is the filter of fear. Fear is not a fact, it's a lens. And lenses determine what we see and how we behave. Today, I want to sit just a little bit and slow down and unpack this properly. I want to be practical, human, and relevant to your life, your leadership, your work, and your relationships right now. Because if we don't understand our filters, we will keep reacting in ways that don't actually reflect who we are or what we value. Let's start here. A filter is the internal lens through which you interpret reality. It decides what you notice, what you ignore, what meaning you assign, and ultimately how you respond. And here's the important bit. We don't respond to reality as it is. We respond to reality as we perceive it. Perception always comes before behavior. That means that your reactions are not random. They're not irrational. It's not a personal flaw. They actually make complete sense to the filter that you're using at the time. The easiest way to explain it or to think of it is something happens. You don't respond to the event. It goes through a filter first. So the real sequence actually looks like this. Something happens, it goes through a filter, then you interpret it, then your emotions come into play, and then you be in a certain way. Same event, different filter, completely different reaction. Think about something ordinary like a delayed reply, unexpected feedback, silence, a meeting that didn't go the way you had hoped. The event itself doesn't tell you what it means. The filter does, and your behavior follows that filter. This is why two people can experience the same situation and respond in completely different ways, both convinced that they are being totally reasonable. That removes the shame, doesn't it? But it also introduces ability. If one of the most common filters you use is fear, you're not alone. Fear is super convincing. It doesn't usually announce itself as fear. It often sounds like just being realistic. I need to be careful. I'm protecting myself. I can't afford to get it wrong. Under the fear filter is neutral information that feels threatening, ambiguity that feels unsafe, or silence that feels personal. Fear just narrows your field of vision. It focuses on what you might lose, what could go wrong, how you might be exposed, and it drives very predictable behaviors. Think about it. When you act out of fear, you become defensive, you over-explain, you try to control the situation, you withdraw, or you preemptively justify. None of these behaviors make us weak. None of these behaviors make us weak. They just make us human. They do, however, distort proportion. Fear always prioritizes safety over truth. Fear is not the only filter we use. It's just the loudest. But let's think about some of the other filters that we should be aware of when things change or when we're encountering a situation. Control. It often sounds like, I need to manage this. If I don't step in, it'll fall apart, or it's on me. Control often disguises itself as responsibility. Under that filter, people become exhausted, resentful, overextended, not because they care too much, but because they're carrying things that aren't actually theirs to carry. What about the scarcity filter? The one that says there's not enough. If I don't secure this now, I'll miss out. Or opportunities don't come by often. Scarcity drives rushed decisions, comparison, and often overcommitment. It makes everything feel urgent, even when it isn't. Another filter we often use is the approval filter. It sounds like, what will they think? I don't want to disappoint. I don't want to rock the boat. Underneath this filter, clarity gets diluted, boundaries soften, and resentment grows quietly and quickly. People pleasing isn't kindness, it's often fear wearing a polite smile. Clarity filter, by contrast, sounds very different. It asks, what's actually happening? What's mine to respond to and what isn't? What response aligns with what I want to be? Clarity doesn't remove the difficulty, but it does remove fear. Is very persuasive. It sometimes feels like fact. Fear speaks in urgency. It says things like, act now, respond immediately, you don't have time to think. The reality is all of these things are concepts made up either by someone or in your mind. There are very few situations in life where you absolutely have to act right this very moment. It's generally life or death situations that require that. But in our day-to-day lives, we don't face life and death situations unless you're an ER doctor, a firefighter, or some sort of emergency services. The reality is quite often we can choose to take a moment to step away and think about it. Clarity doesn't shout. Clarity invites a pause. Urgency and importance are not the same thing, but fear will always blend them together. The most regret doesn't come from a situation you faced. It generally comes from how we responded while we were filtering the response through fear. The important thing is that you can change your behavior. You can't change the filter by forcing better behavior. You change it by increasing awareness. And here's how. Step 1, name the filter. Before you respond, ask yourself, am I afraid? Am I trying to control the situation? Am I trying to protect my image? Am I reacting to a loss? It's important that we name the filter, because the moment you become aware and you name it, that weakens the filter. The next step is to slow the moment. Clarity requires time, even if it's just a pause. Not everything needs an immediate response. Write the email, don't send it. Take the walk, sleep on it. Urgency is often a signal, not a command. Step 3, ask better questions. Instead of asking, how do I fix this? Or how do I stop this feeling? Ask, what's actually true here? What am I assuming? What response would leave me aligned, even if the outcome doesn't change? Alignment definitely matters more than the outcome. This week, I want to invite you to do something very simple. Just notice your reactions. Don't judge them. Don't correct them immediately. Just notice them. When something triggers a strong emotional response, pause and ask yourself, what filter am I using right now? That question creates space. And the space is what brings clarity. Fear is not failure, but confusing fear with the truth will cost you over time, repeatedly, quietly, and often it's expensive. You don't need to eliminate fear. You just need to stop letting it run unexamined. Fear is a filter, not a fact. And when you change the filter, you change your response, even when the situation stays the same. This is the language we'll keep coming back to this year, because clarity changes everything. Thanks for being here. We'll go deeper next time.